This is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the Everblack podcast.
Hey, humans, Carl, this is Odorous from Guam.
I'm going to the Fear Factory.
This is George Cole, Thunder Fisher.
This is Jazz from Double Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
Mike Nick from Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13.
This is
Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is Gary Lee from Sepultura, and you're listening to Everblack Podcast.
Before we go into this episode of the Everblack Podcast, we just need to give a shout out to our show supporters, the occult clothing brand Electric Witch, who have amazing apparel from shirts to hoodies to hats to beanies, dresses and more. Check out their full range at electricwitch.com.au and put in the code Everblack for 20% off your order. Also, don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the Everblack Podcast on Spotify and iTunes podcast streams, and see all our video interviews on the Everblack YouTube channel. You can also read all our articles and reviews at everblack.com.au. All right, on with the show. Aaron, thanks for joining us on the show, brother. How's everything going over in your part of the world?
Things are good. Sun shining. Just getting the apartment all in order.
Man, good times. Good times. Well, of course, you are doing a lot of press at the moment for your new EP, which has been keeping you busy and moving house. And that new EP is amazing. It's called Timeless.
Thank you so much,
man. I've been really digging it. Makes me want more. So I'm guessing there's
that's
more
awesome.
coming.
Well, there is more coming. So there you go. This is just the first of a trilogy of EPs. So we're gonna be dropping new music all year.
Is it all connected? Like, is there like a story?
I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, it definitely is.
Oh, come on, man. Spill a little bit of beans. Come on.
But then if I spill all the beans, then when the next one drops, I won't have anything to come back and talk about.
Right. That's true. Well played. Well, of course, I mean, you guys all live apart. Is that right? How far apart are you guys?
I'm about an hour away, or maybe like 40 minutes to an hour away from Alan and Phil, and then I'm about an hour and a half away from Tino.
So when it came to writing and stuff like that, was it easy enough? I don't know how it is with all the lockdowns and things over where you are.
We did it with Zoom, and we had actually planned on writing with Zoom because we live kind of far apart anyway. So we started working shortly after getting home from Shiprocked in 2020, which was in early February. So it's we just did it over Zoom, like how I think the rest of the world has been handling meetings and virtual get-togethers. You know, it's crazy too, because technologically speaking, you couldn't have really done it this efficiently 10 years ago, you know, so it's kind of cool.
It is, you know what, like, and there isn't much delay at all with this, but I find there's another video meeting thing I won't mention out there, the old one, Skype, where there's always issues. Like, you couldn't be able to do that without it.
I never had a Skype account. I tried it once, like a really long time ago for something, and it just never worked. So I never bothered getting one. Because you could use like Google Meet or like Hangouts used to have like meeting chats and functions and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really funny now, and Zoom works really well on my phone, and it works. I haven't tried it on any of my like new computers. My old laptop hated it. It would disconnect me like every 20 seconds. And that's actually the laptop that I did the mixing and mastering for the EP on. It's a 2012 MacBook Pro.
Isn't that weird? But I mean, this isn't a plug for Zoom, by the way. But hey, I do like sponsors.
Yeah, pay us.
Yeah. Swing us all that Zoom money. I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah, but you mixed and mastered it yourself.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. It sounds incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, it was something that we all worked really hard on. Before I was in Of Mice and Men, when I used to just sing in Jamie's Elsewhere, I used to produce local bands up in Northern California as like my side job. So when I joined Of Mice, we started just like touring all the time. So there wasn't really time to pursue that. And then I moved, to Southern California. And like moving into an apartment, you can't like track drums and stuff. So yeah, it was cool. We just like wrote over Zoom. Everybody engineered their own parts because we're all kind of nerds about like recording software and stuff. And in the past, working with producers in like some of like the coolest studios, we were one of those bands that were always in the control room, like trying to learn. So like, it was kind of cool to implement everything. And, there weren't really studios or producers available when we started working because things started shutting down. So it was kind of nice to be able to sort of take control and to, to write a handful of songs and then partner with a new label with Sharptone to release, shorter format EPs so we can get music out to fans faster. So it's kind of cool,
How quickly did that happen? Like going over to Sharptone and recording and things like that. With everything going on, was that difficult to merge over and join up with them and things like that?
We actually signed with Sharptone in the beginning of 2020, like end of 2019, kind of started negotiations. So we already knew that we wanted to release EPs. We knew that we wanted to kind of change, after 6 albums, you just kind of want to try something different. Even if it's a colossal failure, you're just like, oh, I'm just down to just down to try something different. So they were not only like down for us to do that, but they were down to help us figure out like the most creative and efficient ways of doing that so we could, perpetuate our art, because that's ultimately what it is.
You know what? They're a pretty good label. Hey, like I get a lot of
stuff
from there, and
fantastic.
Like them and Nuclear Blast, I find are really, really good with with their promo, with their bands and stuff, which is
for sure.
Which is John down here. Shout out to John. But in regards to recording, obviously with vocals, did you like build a sound booth in your garage, or how did you do that?
Nope. I have a thing. It's called an Isovox vocal booth, and it's that little guy right there, that little white thing. See, you just slide it over. You stick your head in it, and then you don't end up pissing off your neighbors and getting noise complaints.
Dude.
Like a lot of voiceover actors and stuff like that use it. It's a great product. It's just ISO VOX, and it's just the Isovox vocal booth. You can zip it up, fold it, take it with you places, and it just mounts on a speaker stand. And it's all the vocals I just did like in my apartment.
Dude, I need to get
not one noise complaint.
So I get noise complaints here, but I don't have one of them. I just scream anyway. But apart from that, I mean, what's your secret to getting a good vocal tone out of the studio? Apart from that, do you have a certain microphone that you use?
I typically use Shure SM7B. It's just like a nice round fat sound, and you can kind of like really overdrive it. Like that's, if you're recording aggressive or screaming vocals, like that is by far, in my opinion, the best mic. And then I have a Steven Slate, one of their new modeling microphones, and that's really cool because you can like select different microphones and then it just sounds like that. And I've dabbled a little bit with that. All of my stuff was tracked on a 7B through a Universal Audio Apollo Twin with like, I think one of the like UA 610 preamps or whatever. Because that's one of the coolest features about that is you can actually like put the op amp preamp or whatever it is. So you can like model actual like the impedance of hardware and stuff. Gives it kind of a cool sound, but most of what makes a vocal good, though, in my opinion, is the take. And that's like that's the thing that takes the longest is just finding the right feeling more than the notes. Notes you can edit and change and stuff, but like feeling and delivery, it's like that's what makes the take, I think.
Absolutely, and you've nailed it, man. I mean, you're
thank
fantastic.
You.
I mean, it says it. I mean, you're one of the best out there. So, you've done a good job, especially being. I guess you can be critical on yourself sometimes. Not you necessarily.
Oh yeah, no, I'm my own worst critic for sure.
So, so there's a lot of.
I'm meaner to myself than any of the trolls on the internet ever could be.
I can feel you there, man. I definitely know what that is. But of course, the interesting thing about the band is I thought of Mice and Men were around a lot longer than what they were. Like they've always just sort of, to me, just been there. I thought they've been around longer than 2009, and recently I found out that it was only since then. Was that a lot to sort of take on for you when you joined the band, considering that they did so much and achieved so much in that period of time? And then when you came on board as well, it's like 20 years of career condensed into
Yeah,
a short amount of time.
for sure. I think probably not so much at the time because I was younger and just like the guys were my friends that like I'd known Phil from Static Lullaby because I toured when I was in Jamie's with Static Lullaby, and I'd known Tino from Lower D, done a bunch of touring with Lower D after he was out of the band. Like we all had like mutual friends and stuff, so it was like I'm gonna join a cool band with my friends, and it's like everybody's work ethic was like on 100 all the time because there was 270 dates booked out of 365 days of the year, and it's like, all right, like let's go. And my whole thing with it was I understood that the band was really important to people.
Yes.
And so for me it wasn't really like, oh, this is like my shot. It was more like, oh, this is like a band that not only is like like culturally important to people right now, but like I could see from where I was that the band was doing a lot of good in like the message it was promoting and like the kind of solidarity that I was seeing amongst like the fans and stuff. So for me, it was all about like, oh, I could be a part of something that's like important right now, and I could, try and make it better, try and like just put myself into it. And from like day one, the guys were all about like letting me have my fingerprints on it too and stuff. So it was always like super collaborative. It was always like a really cool experience. So, and since then it's been crazy. Yeah. Sometimes it does feel like 20 years in the last 10. And somebody reminded me that next year is going to be my 10 years in the band. And I was like,
wow.
Jesus, like old. My back feels like it's been 30. But it's a blessing, it's cool. It's cool to be in your 30s and to still be able to make music. Like I'm very blessed. So enjoying it a lot.
Absolutely. And I mean, you've played some incredible shows over that time too, like played all over the world, venues, all the size, big arenas. Do you find that, when you do those big shows with like Slipknot and all those bands, you've got your in-ears and stuff like that, but do you find that it's hard to connect with your band members? The stages are so big and you've got that bigger space?
Yes and no. I actually I think it's mostly no. It's yes, maybe a little bit, just if people aren't in your line of sight and you're like, hey, I need to cue the next, like start the next song. Oh, you can't see me, like start the next song. Like but I think for us when we perform, it's very cathartic and expressive for everybody. So everybody's kind of having their own show for their own reasons up there, but we all practice and everybody puts the work in. So it always ends up just like being a very sort of cohesive experience. And you end up connecting more through, at least we do, because we've been playing so long, we connect way more with what we hear than necessarily what we see. Because most of the time you're facing forward. So Tino's really the only one that sees everybody, and he's looking at our good sides, so most of the time we're just most of the time it's just connecting through the music. And that's why it's, because we have the same in-ear mix, we traveled, like we were one of the bands where like kind of early on, after like discovering that we liked in-ears, we're like, yo, let's get our own thing so that we don't have to like have anybody mess with it. We can just plug it in and it will be the same every day. And so it's really cool because like no matter what the stage is like, the mix is usually pretty consistent. And so it's, we just kind of like reconvene and connect, and it's always a cool experience. It's what I miss for sure.
Oh man.
But it's been cool to also be home and have a lot of time to like write and a lot of time to spend time with family and do things that we haven't been able to do in the last 10 years, because we've been blessed with a good career. It's busy a lot of the time. So, it's all about how you kind of frame it.
And it'll probably, as soon as everything opens up again, I get that feeling that it's going to just hit the ground running for every.
Oh, I think it's gonna probably have a rocky-ish start, kind of like the first gen iPhone.
Yeah.
But I think once it's safe and once like the public confidence is there again, I think it's honestly like live music is going to have such a live moment, and it's going to be like, I think people have really sort of now kind of understand the importance of it, like just collectively, whereas like live music was something that like a portion of the population enjoyed, and I think now it's something that like kind of the overall population like understands the importance of. So it's kind of cool.
And when was the last time you came to Australia? I think was it Soundwave or was it Download? I can't remember which
Download.
one. Download. That was right.
Yeah, it was Download.
Man,
that was a fun one. That was you know what's crazy is that was a crazy tour for us, because we flew from LA, we did Download, and then we did a handful of shows, I think, with Limp Bizkit, and then we flew to Japan, did Warped Tour Japan, and then we flew to Russia and did dates in Russia, and then we flew to Europe and like started a headliner. And 14 days before that tour started, I had an injury to my vocal cords where my doctor said, don't sing or like try not to talk, you know, more than like 100 words a day for the next 14 days. And I was like, damn, because on day 15, I got to play a 45-minute show with Limp Bizkit. so I was like, so I immediately was just like, bleh. But it ended up being sick. It ended up like the whole tour was fine and it was great. That was like for the Defy tour, I think. It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute since we've been down there. Like,
that's my point. When we got to see you again at some point.
And I'm telling you, when we're allowed to like travel and things are safe, dude, we're there.
Everyone loves coming down here. I mean, they always say, you know, the travel sucks, but when they get here, they're like, it's the best. You know?
No, it is. It's like it's. I would say it's one of the best countries in the world to play live music for. Just probably in any genre.
I agree. It's good fun, man. It's good fun. Well, I definitely hope to see you guys again when everything goes back to normal. But in the meantime, man, this EP, it's crushing it, and it comes out. Well, I'd say now, because by the time this goes up, it'll be tomorrow, which will be out already. But
we're already in the future, but talking in the past.
In the past,
whilst in the future,
because I'm in Australia, you're a day behind.
You are actually in the future. Yeah.
So I am in the future. So I got no advice. I got no lotto numbers for you. So sorry.
What's the date? The date's the 25th over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 24th here, dude. You're in the 25th. Future.
I am in the future.
You gotta hook me up with the lotto numbers. I'll split it with you.
About your kids' money. Yeah.
What if it worked that way?
Man, how good would it be?
Pretty wild.
I'd be like, that cup that was on that, don't move that cup, because if you move that cup, it'll affect everything happening over here.
That's it.
Some Rick and Morty shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great show.
Well, brother, it's been awesome hanging out with you. All the links for the new EP Timeless are all down here. Take care, man, and we will see you very, very soon.
Hey, you too. You take care. Stay safe, and keep rocking, man.
Thanks, man.
Keep smiling. Keep rocking.
I will. Definitely. All right, thanks,
brother.
bro.
Have a good one, all right?
You too, man. Bye.